Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Chapter 1. The Boy Who Lived. Mr. and Mrs. Dursley of number 4, Private Drive, were proud to say that they were the perfectly normal. Thank you very much. They were the last people you would expect to be involved in anything strange or mysterious because they just didn't hold with such nonsense. Mr. Dursley was the director of a firm called Grunnings, which made drills. He was a big, beefy man with hardly any neck, although he did have a very large moustache. Mrs. Dursley was very thin and blonde and had nearly twice the usual amount of neck, which come in very useful as she spent so much of her time in conning over garden fences, spying on the neighbors. The Dursleys had a small son too, called Dudley, and in their opinion, there was no finer boy anywhere. The Dudleys had everything they wanted, but they also had a secret, and their greatest fear was that somebody would discover it. They didn't think they could bear it if anyone found out about the Potters. Mrs. Potters. Mrs. Potter was Mrs. Dursley's sister, but they hadn't met for several years. In fact, Mrs. Dursley pretended she didn't have a sister because her sister and her good-for-nothing husband was un-Dursleys as it was possible to be. The Dursleys shuddered to think that what the neighbors would say if the Potters arrived in the street. The Dursleys knew that the Potters had a small son too, but they had never ever seen him. This boy was another good reason for keeping the Potters away. They didn't want Dudley mixing with child like that. When Mr. and Mrs. Dursley woke up on the dull, grey Tuesday, our story starts. There was nothing good about the cloudy sky outside to suggest that the strange and mysterious thing would happening all over the country. Mr. Dursley hummed as he picked out his most boring tie for work, and Mrs. Dursley gossiped away happily as she wrestled a screaming Dudley into his high chair. None of them noticed a large, tiny owl flutter past the window. At 8:30, Mr. Dursley picked up his briefcase, picked Mrs. Dursley on the cheek, and tried to kiss Dudley goodbye, but missed. Because Dudley was now having a tantrum and throwing his cereals at the walls. Little Tyke chortled Mr. Dursley as he left the house. He got into his car and backed out of number 4's drive. It was on the corner of the street that he noticed the first sign of something peculiar. A cat reading a map. For a second, Mr. Dursley didn't realize what he had seen. Then he jerked. He jerked his head around, and to look again, there was a tabby cat standing on the corner of Private Drive. But there wasn't a map inside. What could he have been thinking of? It must have been a trick of the light. Mr. Dursley blinked and stared at the cat. And it stared back. As Mr. Dursley drove around the corner and up the road, he watched the cat in the mirror. It was now reading the sign that said Private Drive. No, looking at the sign. Cats couldn't. Reading the sign? Yeah. Cats couldn't read the maps or signs. Mr. Dursley gave himself a little shake and put the cat out of his mind. As he drove towards the town, he thought of nothing except a large order of drills he was hoping to get on that day. But on the edge of town, drills were driven out of his mind by something else. As he sat in the usual morning traffic jam, he couldn't help noticing that there seemed a lot strangely dressed people in cloaks. Mr. Dursley couldn't bear people who dressed in funny clothes. The get-ups you saw on young people, he supposed this was a stupid new fashion. He drummed his fingers on the steering wheel and his eyes fell on a huddle of these weirdos standing quite close by. They were whispering excitedly together. Mr. Dursley was engaged to see that a couple of them weren't young at all. Why? Why that man had to be older than that he was? And wearing an emerald green cloak? The nerve of him! But then it struck Mr. Dursley that this was probably some silly stunt. These people were obviously collecting for something. Yes, I think these people were obviously collecting for something. Yes, that would be it. The traffic moved. And a few minutes later, Mr. Dursley arrived in a Grunnings parking lot. His mind back on drills. Mr. Dursley always sat with his back to the window in his office on the 9th floor. If he hadn't, he might have found it harder to concentrate on drills that morning. He didn't see the owls swooping past in broad daylight, though people down in the street did. They pointed and gazed open-mouthed as owl after owl overhead. Most of them had never seen an owl over in night time. Mr. Dursley, however, had a perfectly normal owl-free morning. He yelled at 5 different peoples. He made several important telephone calls and shouted a bit more. He was in a very good mood until lunchtime, when he thought he would stretch his legs and walk across the road to buy himself a bun from the bakery. He had forgotten all about the people in cloaks until he passed a group of them next to the bakers. He eyed them angrily as he passed. He didn't know why, but they made him uneasy. This bunch were whispering excitedly too, and he couldn't see a single collecting team. It was on his way back past them, clutching a large amount of donut in a bag, that he caught a few words of what they were saying. The Potters. That's right. That's what I heard. Yes, their son, Harry.